Hey, welcome, folks. We've got a lot of stuff going on today. By the way, I'm saddened. One of the great golfers, Arnold Palmer, who was just a legend. He was so friendly, and he brought golf to the masses. Arnold Palmer died at 87. We're sad to see that. I watched Roy McIlroy. He had a putt, one putt, that was worth $9 million.
The game has so grown.
Well,
over
he won the
It's
Tour
amazing.
Championship, and that in turn put him in charge of winning the FedEx Cup, so it's something. So, all right, I'm going to ask you a question. Are you ready?
Well, probably not, but go for it.
What substance has been discovered that is 5,000 more effective in dealing with free radicals than vitamin C? Do you know?
I don't know.
I asked our wonderful Laurie Johnson if she would give us a report on it. And if you'll stay tuned, you will learn what this magic stuff is, and you can get it at a health food store. It is simply amazing.
So I guess I'll stay here for a little bit.
Please. That was a tease. I didn't want you to tune off. All right. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton finally meet face-to-face tonight in the first presidential debate, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Many voters will say they make up their minds based on the debate. A potential audience of 100 million people.
Unbelievable. Well, tonight's debate comes just 6 weeks before the election, with the race essentially tied at this point. 1 million people expected to watch. We have 2 reports from CBN News, beginning with our political correspondent, David Brody.
It's a presidential debate that can be summed up in one familiar word. Huge. As the construction crews put the finishing touches on the debate stage, Americans are expected to tune in for likely historic TV ratings.
Brady took a shot.
Michael Bennett levels him.
The 2015 Super Bowl clocks in at #1 with 115 million viewers. The 1983 series finale of MASH brought in 106 million. One poll estimates tonight's event could rival those numbers, topping 100 million. Regardless of the count, it will be must-see TV. Trump tells CBN News his simple goal for tonight's epic encounter.
What do you want to accomplish in these debates, specifically against her?
Win. That's all I want to do. I want to win.
But for this outsider, winning won't be the result of traditional textbook strategy, like not pouring through big briefing books. Instead, he's expected to stick with what got him here: instinct and boldness. Trump, however, will need to pass the plausibility test. That is, whether voters see him as a president. Many are evangelicals, still trying to decide whether they pull the lever for Trump or possibly sit this election out. Evangelical leader David Barton calls that the wrong approach.
We have a very selfish view of what we do with voting. And I say that in the sense of most Christians think that voting is a right. It's not. It's a duty.
And Trump's been rallying the troops in the days leading up to this debate.
I'm running to be the voice of the forgotten men and women of this country.
It's appropriate that this first attention-grabbing debate will be in the New York area. Both candidates feel right at home in this familiar territory. Trump Tower, located in Manhattan. Hillary Clinton's headquarters are 20 minutes away in Brooklyn. And the debate site at Hofstra University in Hempstead, New York, is only about an hour drive, without traffic. As he has proven before, Donald Trump likes to get a bit feisty in these debates, mix it up a little bit. But remember, he typically doesn't throw the first punch. He waits until he's attacked. And then, of course, analysts say, indeed, he is one of the best counter-punchers out there. So exactly how will Hillary Clinton respond on stage? More on that as we head 20 minutes crosstown to Jenna Browder, my colleague standing by with more on the Clinton campaign strategy. Jenna.
Thanks, David. Well, behind me, the Brooklyn Bridge. Drive 5 minutes across this iconic landmark, and you land at Clinton headquarters, where they are preparing for just about anything.
How do you prepare for a debate with Donald Trump?
Well, I'm here to ask for your help.
Oh.
It's a good question.
You've got to be prepared for, like, wacky stuff that comes at you. And I am drawing on my experience in elementary school.
And all kidding aside, one Hillary Clinton takes very seriously. The Democratic nominee cut back campaigning last week. Sources say she's going through briefing books, rehearsing, and studying clips of Donald Trump from the Republican primary debates. taking notes of his style and what gets under his skin. One advisor telling CBN News Clinton isn't underestimating Trump.
I run across people, partisans and nonpartisans alike, who, they'll say, what are you so worried about? Why are y'all working so hard? I mean, your girl's going to be the next president. Which my comment is, and I'm from Mississippi, not France, but my comment is, au contraire. We have a very, very tough race ahead of us, and we've got two candidates, and we have two candidates' families that know how to win at the rodeo. And it's going to be a tough race for both sides, and they're going to go at it.
Clinton has participated in more debates than any presidential candidate in recent history, but it's hard to say how much that experience will help with an unconventional outsider like Trump. Clinton is preparing to face some uncomfortable subjects, from her email scandal to Bill Clinton's infidelity. A campaign insider says her team hopes to come up with a memorable one-liner that will knock Trump off his game and stick in voters' minds. Of course, one of the things to watch for Clinton is how she reacts to Trump's attacks. In the past, she's been known to get agitated quickly, and so keeping a calm, cool demeanor will be critical in this debate of the ages. Reporting in New York, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Isn't it amazing that we settle the decision as to who's going to be the leader of our nation on the fact that they smirk, or they cough, or they drink water, or they slouch a little bit, or they forget what Aleppo is, or some silly thing like that. I mean, it's crazy what we decide instead of doing an analysis of the capabilities, the strengths, and the weaknesses. And we think that we can look at them and on the basis of a debate and that's led by, I may add, by a reporter for one of the networks, that this is going to determine. But that's the way it is. And what they say about Al Gore, he reminded you of, your ex-mother-in-law. And I mean, all he's got to do is smirk one time, and you're dead. So anyhow, they're practicing all that if they practice right. But Trump's not, I don't think, practicing any of it. He just said, look, I'm going to wing it, and it's going to be fine. Well, I understand that of the people arrested in Charlotte, 70% have been from out of the city. In other words, this was a put-up thing. North Carolina is in play in terms of the presidential race. Very tight. Trump, I think, is a little bit ahead now, but Hillary was ahead, but they're neck and neck. So to set up this explosion in Charlotte and bust all these people in from out of the city, and then have a big riot in the city. You've got a black police chief, you got a black policeman, you got a black victim, and they start talking about white and black. It had nothing to do with white. It had to do with good or bad law enforcement. Well, race relations and the police have become a top issue after the Tulsa and Charlotte incidents, and John Jessup has that story.
Thanks, Pat. The mayor of Charlotte has lifted a curfew after days of violent protests. And as George Thomas reports, even though the police have put out some video of the shooting, there are growing calls for the department to release the rest of the videos as well.
With curfew lifted, the prayers and protests still continue in Charlotte. On Sunday, demonstrators and police peacefully faced off before a Panthers-Vikings game at the Bank of America Stadium.
Yes, we support our team, but we support our lives as well.
After days of intense public pressure, police released 2 videos showing the deadly confrontation between 43-year-old Keith Lamont Scott and Charlotte police officers. In this dashcam video, you see Scott get out of his car slowly, taking steps backwards with his hands at his side. Then 4 shots are fired.
We got shots fired, 1 suspect down.
A body camera video shows a different angle. A police officer tries to break Scott's passenger window with his baton. When that fails, he comes around the vehicle. That's when you see Scott visible for a brief second. Moments later, the father of 7 is lying on the ground. Police rush to him, guns drawn.
He's gripping his hand, gripping his hand.
Despite the videos, questions remain about whether Scott had a weapon.
There's no single piece of evidence that proves all the complexities involved in this investigative process.
His family insists he didn't have a gun and was in the car just reading a book.
It does not make sense to us how it's possible that this incident resulted in the loss of life.
Neither videos show Scott pointing a gun at officers.
What I see on the video is the failure of the police to use all of the resources that they had at their disposal to avoid killing Keith.
Police also released this image of a loaded gun that they say had Scott's blood and fingerprints, along with an ankle holster reportedly recovered at the scene. Neither the pictures nor the videos have done much to stop the protests. In fact, pressure is now growing on police to release the rest of the dash cam and body cam videos of Scott's shooting. George Thomas, CBN News.
Thanks, George. Pat, back to you.
I'm so tired of these ginned up explosions that take place. And by the way, there was no demonstration in Tulsa at all. Why not? Well, they don't have a presidential race that they're concerned about in Oklahoma. So you don't have to bus in a whole lot of people from out of town to put up a riot. But in Charlotte and North Carolina, they do. I mean, it's just, you know, insane. And there's a manipulative factor going on. These radicals think they can manipulate. But the police played right into that. I mean, to shoot that guy was stupid. They could have tasered him. They could have done 100 different things to immobilize him without taking a weapon and shooting him dead. They didn't have to do that, but they did. So people are mad. They've got every right to be. But we certainly don't need to be playing into a group of radicals that want to turn North Carolina into some kind of a war zone. We don't need that. Well, at the beginning of this program, I told you about a revolutionary substance that they claim is 5,000 times more effective in getting rid of free radicals than vitamin C. Amazing. We asked our health reporter to check it out. John, tell us about it.
That's right, Pat. Turning to health news, researchers have found that a new vitamin-like compound can lead to improved memory and other brain functions. Lori Johnson tells us about the benefits of something called PQQ.
Parsley, green peppers, kiwi, papaya, tofu, and green tea. They all contain small amounts of the vitamin-like compound known as pyroquinoline quinone, or PQQ for short. Scientists say it helps our cells carry out their basic functions. Based on the premise that small amounts of PQQ in food promote overall health, scientists discovered that even higher doses in supplement form led to even greater benefits. Dr. Michael Murray says PQQ can be especially helpful for people who are suffering from some typical symptoms of aging, a drop-off in their memories and thinking skills.
There is sufficient evidence right now showing efficacy and safety for a number of different applications, particularly improving memory and mental functions. And of course, this is a relatively new substance, so there's going to be a growing body of scientific research.
PQQ acts on the mitochondria in cells. Those mitochondria are responsible for producing energy that helps fuel the brain.
So if the mitochondria are not functioning up to par, that brain is going to be a little bit dim. So we want to turn that dimmer switch, which is largely related to the activity of the mitochondria, to full strength. And that's what PQQ is able to do.
Murray says PQQ is 5,000 times more effective than vitamin C at fighting diseases caused by free radicals. People over 40 who took 20 milligrams of PQQ a day found that their minds worked better, and even more so when they combined it with 300 milligrams of the nutrient CoQ10. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Thanks, Lori. Pat, those are some pretty amazing results.
They are. I've read that stuff. I said, you know, this can't be true, Lori. Will you check it out? She checked it out and came back with, yes, it's true.
I'm on it.
You
I mean,
can
I'm
get
not on it yet, but I will be on
Get it at the vitamins store.
Yes, isn't that wonderful?
And do I take it? Of course.
Of course you do.
Of course.
I could have told you that.
How could I possibly remember all the stuff I have to remember here?
He doesn't forget a thing.
Okay, that's the elephant. Okay, what's next?